On October 31st, 2022, the richest man in the world walked a red carpet in New York City. He was wearing a $7,500 leather costume. That costume has an official name, the Devil's Champion. Across his breastplate, the skull of Baphomet. Engraved into that skull, an inverted Christian cross. On his forearms, more inverted crosses, blood-red leather, samurai cut, designed by master leatherworker Dale Caldwell, sold by a New York shop called Abracadabra. His date that night was his own mother, Maye Musk, smiling beside him on the carpet. He tweeted the photo himself, the caption, "Halloween with my mom." This was not a leaked photo, not a hidden moment, not the spin of his enemies. The richest man on earth deliberately put on a costume titled the Devil's Champion, the champion of the devil, and broadcast the image to the entire world. Today, we are not going to investigate a conspiracy. Today, we are going to investigate what is in the public record, what is documented on Wikipedia, what is printed in mainstream press, what is confirmed in official biographies, what the Musk family itself has tweeted, written, and admitted in their own interviews. And then we are going to lay it next to a 2,000-year-old warning from the Book of Enoch. Welcome to a family that is already following the script, long before rockets ever existed. Every family has one strange ancestor. In the Musk family, his name was Joshua Norman Haldeman, born in Saskatchewan, Canada in 1902. On paper, chiropractor, pilot, rodeo rider, adventurer. It sounds harmless. It will stop sounding harmless very quickly. From 1936 to 1941, Joshua Haldeman served as research director of Technocracy Incorporated in Canada and head of the Regina branch. For anyone unfamiliar with technocracy, this was not some forgotten cult on the fringes. At its peak, Technocracy had hundreds of thousands of members across North America. It was founded in New York in 1933 by a man who called himself the chief engineer. His name was Howard Scott. What did Technocracy believe? Their own 1938 manifesto stated it plainly. There will be no place for politics or politicians. Abolish politicians. Abolish democracy. Abolish money, replaced by energy certificates measured in joules and ergs. Citizens identified not by name, but by number. The entire continent, from Panama to Greenland, carved into latitude and longitude grids, governed by a council of engineers. Members wore identical gray suits, a blue tie, a monad pin, yin-yang shaped, half chromium, half vermilion. They gave an official salute to the chief engineer. They were encouraged to paint their cars gray. Howard Scott himself put it this way: "We are so far left, we make communism look bourgeois." On October 8, 1940, Joshua Haldeman was arrested in Vancouver by the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. Technocracy had been banned under the Defense of Canada regulations in June of that year, declared subversive to the war effort. Haldeman paid a $200 fine. He left the movement in 1941, not out of ideological change, but because technocracy had pivoted too far toward the Soviet Union for his taste. What did he do next? He joined the Social Credit Party. He began publishing his own newsletter, Total War and Defense. And he gave a public speech defending the publication of the Protocols of the Elders of Zion, the anti-Semitic forgery manufactured in Tsarist Russia. His own words. The plan, as outlined in these protocols, has been rapidly unfolding. In 1950, he immigrated with his family to South Africa, not despite apartheid, because of it. He told the Afrikaner nationalist newspaper, Die Transvaaler, "Instead of the government's attitude keeping me out of South Africa, it had precisely the opposite effect. It encouraged me to come and settle here. In an article published in the Regina Leader Post in 1951, 1 year after his arrival, the natives are very primitive and must not be taken seriously. The present government of South Africa knows how to handle the native question. In 1960, weeks after the Sharpeville massacre, when South African police shot 69 unarmed black demonstrators dead in the street, he published his own pamphlet. It called on South Africa to become the leader of white Christian civilization. That same year, he self-published a book. Its title? The International Conspiracy to Establish a World Dictatorship. And between 1953 and his death, he undertook, with his entire family, somewhere between 12 and 16 annual expeditions through the Kalahari Desert. Searching for what? The mythical lost city of the Kalahari, a buried civilization once described by the explorer Farini in 1885, which mainstream scholarship had long since dismissed as legend. He never found it. Joshua Haldeman died on January 13, 1974, a practice landing near Pretoria. His wheels clipped a high-tension power line. The plane nosed in. No suspicious circumstances, just a tragic landing accident. But his ideas did not die with him. Because his daughter was named Maye, and Maye married a man who became everything Joshua had ever dreamed of, and worse. Hold one detail in your head. Joshua Haldeman's entire life was driven by one central conviction, that a scientific, technocratic elite has the right to govern the rest of humanity. Politicians out. Democracy out. A trained few, schooled in the correct knowledge, take over. That conviction is going to come back 60 years later in the same family, out of the mouth of his grandson, word for word. Joshua's daughter Maye married Errol Musk in 1970, a South African engineer, pilot, charmer. And to understand who Errol Musk is, we don't need conspiracy sources. We have his own son. In Rolling Stone magazine, November 2017, in a long-form profile by veteran journalist Neil Strauss, Elon Musk spoke about his father in plain language. Quote 1, "He was such a terrible human being, you have no idea." Quote 2, "My dad will have a carefully thought out plan of evil. He will plan evil." Quote 3, "Almost every crime you can possibly think of, he has done." These are not the words of a journalist. These are the words of Elon Musk about his own father, on the record, in a magazine read by millions. His sister Tosca, in Walter Isaacson's official biography published in 2023, confirmed the pattern. She said their father would lecture the children for hours, calling them worthless and pathetic, and in her own words, scarring and evil comments. When Elon was 12 years old and was beaten so badly at school that he lost consciousness, Errol Musk sided with the boy who beat him. His justification? On the record, "I raised him to be tough." This is how Elon Musk's own family describes their father, not anonymously, not vaguely, by name, in interviews, in biographies, in print. But that is only the beginning. In 2018, the British press revealed that Errol Musk had fathered 2 children with his own stepdaughter. Her name is Jana Bezuidenhout. He had met her when she was 4 years old. He had just married her mother. After his divorce from her mother, once she was an adult, he had 2 children with her. A son, Elliot Rush, in 2017, a daughter in 2019. The age gap between Errol and Jana, 41 years. Errol's own justification to the son: "The only thing we are on earth for is to reproduce. If I could have another child, I would. I can't see any reason not to." If I had thought about it, then Elon or Kimball wouldn't exist. Don't skip past this. This is not a moral accident. This is a stated philosophy, a worldview, that the human being exists to reproduce, that moral frameworks are obstacles, that family relationship boundaries are obstacles, that heritable reproduction is the highest purpose. And in September 2025, the New York Times pushed this pattern one floor deeper. 5 accusers, children and stepchildren, accused Errol Musk of decades of sexual abuse stretching back to 1993. Errol denied it. False and nonsense to the extreme. These are allegations, not convictions. But the pattern, the philosophy, the stepdaughter, the allegations, forms a consistent profile. Meanwhile, he has been comfortable with money that comes from morally gray places. In 1986, during apartheid, he acquired rights to the output of 3 emerald mines in Zambia. For years, Elon publicly denied this. Walter Isaacson's official 2023 biography eventually confirmed it as fact. Errol's own account of how he obtained the deal: he landed a Cessna in Zambia, was randomly handed 80,000 pounds in cash by a group of Italians for his airplane, and was immediately offered half of an emerald mine for half of that cash. He accepted. According to Errol himself, in 2018, that money financed Elon's life at the Wharton School of Business. Errol Musk is not a normal father. He is a man whose own children, on the record, call him a carefully thought out plan of evil. He is a man whose worldview, humans exist to reproduce, moral boundaries are obstacles, would fit comfortably inside every historical justification of eugenics ever written. Hold this idea too, because in the next generation, reproduction will also become central, but by way of an artificial intelligence mythology. Maye Musk is, on the surface, the most ordinary figure in this story. Born in Canada in 1948, registered dietitian with 2 master's degrees in nutrition, model, author, famous in her later years. Online, claims circulate that Maye Musk is a witch. Let's be honest, there is no documentation for that claim. No statement, no practice, no public involvement in occult or pagan traditions. These claims are meme level, built on her dramatic silver bob and gothic editorial styling, not on facts. But Maye's place in this family is critical in a different way. She is the connecting tissue, the daughter of Joshua Haldeman, the Technocracy research director who defended the protocols, spoke anti-Semitism into the press, and immigrated to apartheid South Africa by conviction. The wife of Errol Musk, the man whose own children call him evil, who had 2 children with his own stepdaughter, and who was accused in 2025 by 5 family members of decades of abuse. The mother of Elon, the devil's champion warrior on the red carpet. Maye has been present in every generation of this story. On October 31st, 2022, she stood arm in arm with her son on Heidi Klum's Halloween carpet. He was in Baphomet armor. She was beside him, smiling, without visible discomfort. In 2025, at Klum's next edition, she appeared again, this time costumed as Cruella de Vil's cooler sister. Leather trench coat, black dress with fishnet neckline, combat boots ringed with pearls. Her bob dyed half black, half white, ruby lips, silver eyeshadow, gothic, theatrical, comfortable in that register. Maye is not the witch, but she is the channel along which a specific worldview, from Joshua through her to Elon, has been allowed to continue across 3 generations. She did not choose distance. She chose continuity. That is not sorcery. That is something far more structural. That is a family identity that holds through 3 generations. But the most explicit figure in this family is not Elon's mother. It is the mother of his children, Grimes, Claire Boucher, Canadian musician, 3 children with Elon Musk, and her own words are clearer than any analysis we could offer. On her own Tumblr several years ago, she wrote, "I didn't just stop believing in God. I decided I was going to be a witch and worship the devil." That made the problem significantly worse. Not metaphor, not irony, her own blog post in her own words. How did Elon and Grimes meet? Through Roko's basilisk. For anyone unfamiliar, Roko's basilisk is an infamous thought experiment that came out of the transhumanist community. The premise: at some point in the future, a superintelligent AI will arise. That AI will look back through time and eternally torture every human being who did not contribute to its rise in a digital simulation. It is, in essence, an AI version of hell, a doomsday scenario in which worshiping AI now becomes your only salvation later. Grimes made a music video in 2015 called Flesh Without Blood. It featured a character named Rococo Basilisk, a pun on Roko's basilisk. 3 years later, Musk wanted to tweet the exact same pun. He discovered she had already used it. He sent her a DM. That is how their relationship began, over a thought experiment about a future God machine that tortures everyone who failed to build it. Their first child was named X-A12. Grimes' own Twitter breakdown in May 2020 in her own words. X, the unknown variable. Ash, my elven spelling of AI. Love and/or artificial intelligence. A12, precursor to the SR-71, our favorite aircraft. No weapons, no defenses, just speed. Great in battle, but non-violent. A, Archangel, my favorite song. Read that again. The mother of Elon Musk's son is publicly explaining that the symbol in her child's name is her elven spelling of artificial intelligence. The child is literally named, in part, AI written in elven script, plus Archangel, plus a spy plane. Their second child, a daughter, was named Exa Dark Citadel. Grimes' own explanation given to Vanity Fair. Exa, a reference to exaflops, the supercomputing unit. Dark, the beautiful mystery of our universe, dark matter. Sidereal, pronounced sidereal, a more elven spelling of sidereal, the true time of the universe, star time, deep space time, not our relative Earth time, a reference to Galadriel from The Lord of the Rings, who chose to refuse the ring. Their third child, Technomechanicus, nicknamed Tau, after the mathematical constant 6.28, which is also Musk's birthday, June 28th. 3 children, 3 names that nobody chooses by accident. Elven script, AI, Archangel, Exaflops, Galadriel, Tau. And Grimes herself? In 2017, she had tattoos hand-poked onto her hands, mystic symbols in elven script, 3 words across her fingers: contradiction, be ready for war, no shields allowed. In 2020, she released a concept album called Miss Anthropocene, about, in her own description, the anthropomorphic goddess of climate change, her words. She's got a Voldemort kind of vibe. She's naked all the time. She's made out of ivory and oil. At the 2021 Met Gala, she appeared in an Iris Van Herpen gown inspired by the Dune universe, carrying a sword. The sword had been forged from a dismantled AR-15 assault rifle. The maker, the art collective Mischief, the same collective that earlier that year had launched Lil Nas X's Satan Shoes, filled with human blood. This is not the interpretation of fans. This is what the mother of 3 of Elon Musk's children openly declares, posts, wears, and carries with her down the red carpets of the world. Stop for a moment. A woman who openly calls herself a witch, who says she chose to worship the devil, whose entire worldview revolves around elven AI mysticism, vengeful machine gods, climate goddesses, and swords forged from assault weapons, gave the man who now owns somewhere near 80% of the planet's AI infrastructure 3 children, with names that literally contain the letters AI and Archangel written in Elven script. This is not subtext anymore. This is the text itself. Now draw the line, from grandfather to grandson. Joshua Haldeman, 1936 to 1941. Research Director of Technocracy in Canada. His dream? A world governed by a scientific and technocratic elite. Politicians out. Money out. Energy credits in. Citizens numbered. A Soviet of experts at the top. His daughter, Maye, carries that worldview forward, not by speaking it herself, but by remaining comfortable beside it through every decade, through every generation. Her husband, Errol, lives as though ordinary morality does not apply to him. We are on Earth to reproduce, a eugenicist's instinct, reproduction above boundaries. And his grandson, Elon Musk? In 2019, Elon Musk tweeted, word for word, accelerating Starship development to build the Martian technocracy. A Martian technocracy. He used the literal word that his grandfather's movement carried. In 2021, he changed his official CEO title at Tesla, filed with the United States Securities and Exchange Commission, not just on Twitter, to Technoking of Tesla. King of the technocracy. Not metaphor, an official legal title. In 2025, as head of the Department of Government Efficiency, he tweeted, "This is our one and only chance to restore democracy from the dictatorship of the bureaucracy." Compare that, word for word, to Technocracy's own 1938 manifesto. There will be no place for politics or politicians. 4 generations, same language, same ambition. This is not coincidence. And in December 2024, he tweeted about Mars. The Martians will decide how they are ruled. I recommend direct rather than representative democracy. Starlink's official terms of service declares that Mars is a free planet, not subject to any earthbound sovereignty. This is not an entrepreneur. This is a man who intends openly to build an extraterrestrial state on the blueprint his grandfather wrote in 1936. And he is doing it in public. Nothing is hidden. Now, the biblical lens. Not to call Elon Musk a Nephilim, we will not speculate about that, but to do something much more precise. Read Genesis chapter 6, verses 1 through 4. The Hebrew word Nephilim, usually translated as giants, comes from a Hebrew root that means the fallen ones, beings who came down. The apocryphal Book of Enoch, a text that circulated in the 1st century before Christ that Jesus' own followers knew and quoted, expands the picture. In chapters 7 and 8, the fallen ones, called the Watchers, are named one by one. And their sin is not only that they took human wives, their sin is that they gave humanity forbidden knowledge. Enoch lists them specifically from chapter 8. Azazel taught humans the working of metals, the forging of swords, knives, shields, weapons. Pinamui taught humans the writing of ink and paper, communication beyond the spoken word. Armaros taught the resolving of enchantments, magic, the manipulation of the mind. Arakijal taught astrology, the secret reading of the stars. Kasdasia taught abortions and the working of evil spirits. And the general sin of the Watchers, summarized, they lifted humanity past what its creator had ever intended. They gave knowledge that was not meant for humans, power without wisdom, tools without limits. Now lay that next to Elon Musk's portfolio. SpaceX, Tesla, the forging of metal on a scale no human ever achieved. Rockets of 5,000 tons of metal shot beyond the atmosphere. Azazel-level metallurgy. X, formerly Twitter, global control over the written word. Pinamui's exact domain. Neuralink, chips implanted directly into the human brain, the reading of thoughts, the manipulation of mind. Armaros's enchantments, translated into 21st century silicon. Starlink, 7,000 satellites blanketing the sky. Arakijal's astronomy, militarized. And XAI, Grok, the construction of superintelligences explicitly designed to lift humanity past its natural limits. The general sin of the Watchers, written in pure code. One parallel could be coincidence. 5 parallels, mapping exactly onto a 2,000-year-old text, concentrated in the hands of one man, with a grandfather who dreamed of technocratic elite rule, and a partner who openly calls herself a witch, is not coincidence anymore. Enoch did not describe a specific person. Enoch described a pattern, a process. The introduction of forbidden knowledge through supernatural beings, generation after generation, until humanity drove itself toward its own undoing. Whether you read Enoch literally or allegorically, the pattern he warned against is unfolding in front of our eyes. We are at the end. Let's establish 3 things. 1. This is not a conspiracy theory. Every factual claim in this video is documented. Wikipedia, Rolling Stone, The New York Times, Walter Isaacson's official Musk biography, Elon Musk's own tweets, Grimes' own Tumblr posts and interviews, Joshua Haldeman's own newspaper quotes from 1951 and 1960. Nothing here requires belief in the occult. 2. The family pattern is documentable across 4 generations. Joshua Haldeman dreamed of a world governed by a technocratic elite, politicians out, democracy out. His grandson Elon Musk uses the literal word technocracy for his Mars plans, carries the official legal title Technoking at Tesla, and speaks about ending the dictatorship of the bureaucracy as head of an American government agency. Same script, different generation. 3. The Book of Enoch did not describe a person. Enoch described a process. Supernatural beings lifting humanity past its natural limits through forbidden knowledge, metal, ink, enchantment, astronomy. Today, one man, Elon Musk, holds a portfolio in which each of those domains is covered. SpaceX, X, Neuralink, Starlink, XAI. Whether Elon Musk is literally a Nephilim, that is not something we are establishing here. We do not speculate. But the family follows the script. And that script was written long before anyone knew what a rocket was, long before anyone knew what a microchip was, long before anyone knew that a man would walk a red carpet in October 2022 wearing a leather Baphomet costume titled The Devil's Champion, with his mother smiling beside him. The Book of Enoch warned of a time when humanity would no longer respect its own boundaries, a time when forbidden knowledge would become pride, a time when the elites, the sons of the Watchers, would lead the multitude toward their own destruction. What you do with this is your question, but the signs are here.